Iko Nini. So ni another day, another headline juu ya Ruto. This time ni by the Standard. Of course, kuna vile on Saturday the Standard walikuwa blocked from kuingia State House. And the reason was wamekuwa put like a lot of negative headlines juu ya the president. So like the Sunday Standard, the headline ni the financial bill crackdown. Alafu basically inabonga juu ya dem fulani hapa. Udem I think anaitwa Rose Njeri and so wacha tucheki ile vile imeandikwa what started as an attempt by a young Kenyan to hasten and simplify the process of public participation on the finance bill has ended with Rose Njeri being detained, portal flagged controversial clauses including proposals to grant KRA sweeping access to personal data, nini tena, and to improve VAT on essentials and enabled Kenyans to directly submit their objectives to parliament. Okay, I think hapo kizungu yangu kuna vile nime whatever, kizungu yangu imenipoteza kidogo. But her arrest has reignited fears of state overreach and raised fresh concerns over government tolerances for civic engagement. In a country where public participation is a constitutional right, Njeri's arrest sends a chilling message. Speak up at your own risk 2 weeks before the reading of the budget. So yes, last year of course the finance bill ilibaki imetupeleka to a place where we'd never gone before. Finance bill ilibaki imefanya wakenya wengi sana wakabaki wametokea kwa streets. Tukaenda up tumeona like the biggest protest that we've ever seen in this country, and apart from that ikaanzisha the whole Gen Z revolution. So one thing ile nafikiria ina happen saa hizi, kuna vile unajua Ruto yuko worried kiasi, anashindwa nini ita happen this year, and of course because of that I think this is the reason why wana feel kama wana need to intimidate Rose Njeri. But every time they make such moves, what ends up happening is they embolden the people end up being more angry, and the people end up realizing that they are actually getting under the president's skin. Who Rose Njeri? Without her arrest, most of us would have never known about her. We'd never have known about her trying to reach us and tell us more about the Finance Bill 2025. But because of this, now we know. And now that we know, we are interested, because now we feel like she was on to something. And that's the reason why the president's men feel like they need to harass her. And this is a sad state of affairs, because every time you feel like Kenya like we've moved past these things, and every time like the president shows up and lies that everyone who had been arrested has been released and released back to their families, then such stuff happens and we are back to square one where we are like, what's happening? Acheki udem hakuna kitu yote ile amedu ile mbaya, like just wacha tucheki bill, wacha to debate. If it's bullshit like you're saying it's bullshit, we'll see through it. Najua we've had a lot of stories of hii kitu kifanyika hivi alafu eventually tunapata tu ni fake news, ni kitu maybe mse fulani alikuwa ameanzisha. So history ya Rose Njeri itakuwa interesting sana. So like even on Twitter ilikuwa ni trending 35-year-old Rose Njeri arrested for creating a website for Kenyans to give their views on the 2025 finance bill. She's currently being detained at Pangani police station in Nairobi. So one of the things that they made sure was arrest her like on a Friday. They know that Saturday ni public holiday. Apart from Saturday kuwa public holiday, wanajua Azizi walikuwa wanajua Saturday si siku ya kotini, alafu walikuwa wanajua Sunday ni public holiday. But since Sunday ni public holiday, that means that Monday ni public holiday. That means that the earliest that they can take her to court ni on Tuesday. So this is just mental torture. They want to torture her, and because lack of freedom it's tricky. Lack of freedom is tricky, and so that's what's happening. So Ruto, I don't know, as I keep saying, when you surround yourself with yes men, and most of these people are yes men because they're not educated, they can't have like a single independent thought. Everything that they think about, they're always on survival mode, that this is the person who's making us rich, so we need to make sure that we always keep him happy, blah blah blah, and that's why we end up in such a situation. And still on Ruto, another story that happened on Saturday, apart from yeye kublock like the Standard kukuja hapo State House, ni he ended up having a press conference na huo president walikuwa nafaa kuhave na yeye, and he said some things that I found to be super interesting, because huyo ndio mse amekuwa ni deal akimess around na wase wa Sudan, And then he launched this scathing attack on 2 Sudan generals, while we know that he's very close to one of the Sudan generals. So I don't know what he was trying to do. Sijui kama hiyo deal ya gold ile nani alikuwa anatuambia juu yake, Gachagua alikuwa anatuambia maybe may fall through. I don't know what has happened, but this is what he said on Saturday that I found to be I don't know, perplexing ama surprising ama what the F is going on.
There are 2 generals that have no regard for human life, and the war in Sudan is heading towards carnage, and it is already in the realm of a human catastrophe. The real big problem that we have is in the Sudan, where war rages unabated.
He said the country's 2 rival generals have shown disregard for anyone else, focusing on their own ends. Ruto said urgent regional and global action is needed. The president was referring to Sudan's ruling junta leader, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and his rival, General Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo Hemeti. He urged...
Hamdalo Hemeti anakuwaga best ya Ruto. Unimse, if you go online, you can find hizo wakiwa pamoja, wakicheka. So that's why hii story yake ya kusema that 2 heartless generals, they don't care about the bloodshed. I don't know what has happened. I don't know if the so-called gold deal ile inasemekana ina happen na nina watu gani. I think nina UAE. I don't know if that has fallen through. I don't know, but this is surprising. And of course, I don't like personally, on a personal level, spendagi tukimess na hizi makantri kaki na Sudan. Because unapataga ni wale wase wanaweza feel like Kenya ina mess na sisi, but since hatuwezi fight wars mbili na Kenya, why don't we send one person to send a message to Kenya? And such stuff ends up happening where tunaweza end up tumesuffer a terrorist attack because of kuindulge na affairs za country ingine. And president kwa watu wengi walimuelect, wale wase wali believe the whole hustler fund, the hustler narrative, the whole dynasty narrative. I don't think anyone wanted Kenya to be involved na stories za Sudan, whether South or the main Sudan. And even if you were to deal with anyone, I'd better deal with South Sudan, because I feel like tuna share more in common. I don't know if that makes sense. And also the probability a very tall dude showing up without mtu yote kumuona ni ngumu. So yeah, the Dinkas and the Nuers and the what waga, according to me, ni watu wangu wa nguvu sana. But yeah, I don't know hii kitu ya Ruto ina happen aje, but it's just interesting that every day you tupatia garizon ya kuona he's not the right guy to run the country. And it's interesting because 2027 inakaribia, and as inakaribia kuna zile ma headlines of course zinabamba watu wa Ruto. So uko US na unatry kutuma do Kenya, baki umetumia LemFi. Na reason ya kutumia LemFi ni LemFi inakupatia the highest exchange rates. Alafu apart from that, juu ya LemFi unabaki umetuma $8,000 in one day. Ama unaweza tuma $16,000 in one week. Ama unaweza tuma $32,000 in one month. Hiyo ni up to 4 million shillings in one month. Na ni simple kabisa. LemFi app unaweza baki umepata kwa App Store na pia unaweza ipata kwa Google Play. Another reason ya kusign up kwa LemFi ni wewe ni IKONINI fan. Na umekuwa ukishindwa nizaje support IKONINI. Naweza support aje asi. Kuna vile saizi jo mfuko ni mbaya. Lakini need kutumia mother dose, so siwezi tumia IKONINI chochote. Kuna a very easy way ili unaweza kill 2 birds with one stone. Support your family na pia support IKONINI. Na unafanyaje hivyo? Unabaki umesign up to LemFi using our QR code. Baki umescan QR code. Kama si hivyo, ubaki umetumia the link ile tumeseti kwa description. Na usisahau the first $100 ile utatuma, wewe mwenyewe utapata $20 cashback. Alafu sisi juu tumekurefer, pia sisi tutapata $20. Unacheki, utakuwa umesupport IKONINI, ndio tuendelee kukupatia the conversations that you like. Na pia kitu inabamba kabisa ni saizi kuna vile LemFi ina support both M-Pesa paybill numbers na till numbers. Inamaanisha unabaki umelipia madhako internet ukiwa majuu, unaweza mlipia stima bado ukiwa majuu. Unaweza make sure that madhako iko both connected na pia keja yake iko lit up. Na hiyo ni courtesy of LemFi. LemFi, international payments for everyone. IKONINI. Kama like one of the headlines ilikuwa vile in Homa Bay waswali baki wamejaza study like overnight. I don't know, when I see such an image, of course I'm sad. unacheki cause ilikuwa like hiyo Homa Bay Raila Odinga 20,000 city stadium full to capacity 15 minutes to midnight all gets closed. That means hata say hawaku watch Champions League. A few things could have happened. Wanaweza kuwa wamechotewa, wanaweza kuwa wamekuwa mobilized, ama pia inaweza kuwa the other side of it, which is a very simple explanation, which is it's all about poverty. Najua if you are poor, you're jobless, and you have nothing to do, such an event becomes something that you look forward to. That's why uzabaki umechiki kuna wamadha, kuna wanini, kuzawata lala. By the time, saizi kama wako hapa, hawajadoze, by the time they are being addressed and going home, itakuwa the next day. So I don't know if they've been promised or watapatiwa handouts. And these handouts, you want to be mad at them, but you can never be mad at them. You have to understand the reality. And the reality is for a lot of Kenyans, food is not guaranteed. Najua, this is one of those things where unaweza jipata kijani kwa pale ulikula slices zako mbili za breadi, alafu after kukula hizo slices you forgot about that bread. So umechukua hiyo breadi, unaangalia sell by date, maybe imeandikwa 1st of June. We mwenyewe unaangalia ni 1st of June, kwa kai kitu sell by date, does it mean that it's still good by 1st of June? Ama inamaanisha nafaa kwa nishaimaliza by 1st of June, alafu unaenda umeichukua umerusha kwa dustbin. And because of that, we end up sometimes forgetting how much like food is an issue. Like me, nakumbukaga like in my life nishabongaga juu ya situations where tumeget mahindi kutoka Ocha, tumetry kuiboil kakata kuboilika. That has happened. Kwa waswali watching episode ya Calligraph, nakumbuka Calligraph akipatia na ile story ya kuna time waliendaga hapo na do ya kudishi, so wakaenda wakanunua the little money they had, wakanunua tipiriton ati wameze wabaki wamelala. Of course hakuweza kulala. So that's how much food inakuwaga an issue in Kenya. And when I see people fill up a stadium at night, I don't know what to think. Najua, it's one of those things where one side tells me maybe it's just that Raila psychophancy. Another side tells me maybe they've been paid, wabaki wametokea, because don't forget the government is trying to push a narrative that it's still popular. So wanaweza kuwa wamechotewa. Another narrative inaweza kuwa it's the politics of Homa Bay. Ile tuliambiwa the reason why Ong'ondo Were used to survive there, the politics of intimidation. So maybe watu wamekuwa intimidated, msipotokea hapa, usipoonekana pale Raila Odinga stadium utabaki umomea. So watu wakabaki wametokea. I don't know. But what I know is people who have things to do financially and economically, the probability of them sacrificing their whole night when going to such a place is really hard. Nikiona women there, I'm wondering where the kids. Has someone showed up with their kids kwa hii baridi? Ndio mtoi akae kwa hii baridi the whole night? These are the questions you have to ask yourself. And we have to go back to one thing ile muisemaga. Na musema that politicians wameweaponize poverty. So kuna watu wengi sana where if you see the poverty that is in Africa, it shames you and it makes you feel ashamed. Najua, it makes you feel like we can do better. But I feel like Kenyan politicians, when they see the poverty, they see a weapon they can use. As long as these people are poor and they can scramble for 200 shillings, I'm going to take advantage and make them scramble for these 200 shillings. I'm going to, because look at that, capacity 20,000 people. If it's a capacity of 20,000 people and you decide that you're going to pay them 200 shillings each, it'll still show up. It'll still show up. And how much will you have spent kujaza like a whole stadium? 4 million shillings only. 4 million shillings. But now, let's push it. Don't forget, hasa wanatembea na magunia za pesa. If they're paying everyone 2,000 shillings, 20,000 people, that's only 40 million shillings. That's peanuts to them. So there could be, if I think I was a betting man, I think us wanalipwa kasi wamepromisiwa kulipwa at least 1,000 ama 2,000 wakikam. At least I make sense, like makes no sense. This has never happened. Sijaisikia hata siku when Raila was still very strong and what sijaisikia ati anaenda kuaddress pahali alafu people ended up staying there overnight. So that could be the reason why they've decided that watabaki wamestay there overnight. But it's still a cry. I always look at all these things as a cry for help. It's a cry for, if I had something better to do, if I had a way to provide for my family, then I wouldn't do all this. I wouldn't stay at a stadium overnight waiting to hear a speech that's just going to be, oh, affordable housing, it's the best, tumekuja hapa kuleta affordable housing, alafu next saizi tuko ndani ya serikali, Gachagua hawezi tuambia Gachagua should be arrested. Yes, Gachagua is intimidating and inciting people. Strike imagine sa ODM akisema people are being incited when someone talks about free and credible elections. That's how much ODM has fallen and has become a laughing, has become a joke. And yes, so ndio kitu ina happen, but it is what it is. Tuendelea kucheck what's happening in this country of ours and seeing what happens. And yeah, happy, is it Madaraka Day kwako? Iko nini?